My name is Jim Ottaviani, and I write and publish comic books, or graphic novels if you prefer, about scientists. And at this point I've done, I think, 7 books about scientists, and also edited Charles R. Knight's autobiography. Knight was an artist, but he was the paleo artist of the 19th and 20th centuries, and was one of the first to recognize that, dinosaurs, lizards, not so much, birds. And that was in, like I said, the 1940s, well before the scientific establishment got there.
Now, you have a new book out here, Warrior Mothers, Science of Love.
Great.
Is there science to love?
Well, there's science to just about everything. So what I've been thinking of, and if you looked at the two books I published this year, you'll notice I put numbers on the spine and everything. I'm starting what I think is going to be a series of the science of the unscientific. And what could be more unscientific sounding than love or magic? As far as love is concerned, sometime around in the 1950s, there was this idea going around that human beings and what they did and what they felt was nothing more than a complex bundle of behaviors and responses to specific stimuli. And the idea of love, the notion of it actually being real, was considered nonsense. You couldn't find the word love in textbooks. Love would never be mentioned in scientific conferences. And this one man, Harry Harlow, said, so everybody's mom has been doing this wrong for like the past 10,000 years? Couldn't possibly be true. And so what he did was, he set about to prove that love exists, it's learned, and that it matters. And so this is the story of Harry Harlow and the experiments he did to demonstrate the existence of love.
Now, you're an engineer.
Correct.
How does an engineer get into writing comics?
By mistake. I worked as an engineer for maybe 8-10 years, and all through the time that I was studying to be an engineer, and as a practitioner, I was interested, you get Heisenberg's uncertainty principle, you use Einstein's relativity theory, etc., because I was a nuclear engineer. Who were these guys? You start doing the Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. These people are always chasing me, and they throw formulas on top of my head, but what were they like? What was it about their lives? What did they do? Didn't really have time to pursue this so much while I was working as an engineer, but I did read biographies, did become interested in their personal lives. As I switched careers and started to get into a more literary mode, I'm now a librarian by day, I started reading more and more, thinking more and more about their stories, and coupling them, or deciding to couple them, with another love of mine, which was, of course, comics. And so finally, added the two together and ended up with something that I wanted to see in books, what they hadn't seen so far.
Now, of all the courses that kids take in high school and elementary school, science is always the one that people have a lot of trouble with. Do you think that
it's not always the one, but it's often.
It's in general.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Do you think that maybe science could be better taught using this kind of mixture of the visual and the written medium?
Well, I have to say yes because I'm doing it. But even if I wasn't doing this, I think the answer is yes. If you've ever looked at a scientific journal, hardcore, the journal of blah, blah, blah that I don't understand, start flipping through these things. In addition to all the equations, there's pictures everywhere. It's always being shown, demonstrated, taught via the image as well as the word. Yeah. So science and images actually go together, not just at a superficial level when you're doing comics about scientists, but when you're a real practitioner of science as well. You're seeing the images and you're working with images. I would say when I'm being very expansive, it's getting really loud.
I'm gonna go get cake too.
Sorry, I just totally lost.
Is there a science behind being interrupted?
Probably. Or having bad enough attention that I'm easily interrupted by just a guy talking behind me. But anyway, in a more expansive mode, I would even say that the mathematical models that you use are, in a sense, a pictographic language. It's fairly abstracted for representing reality, not in an entirely different way that cartoons lead to, more fully realized images, the oil painting, the image, to reality. So it's just, all working on a continuum there. So I think comics are right smack in the middle of that continuum in terms of teaching and presenting scientific ideas.